And first place, in my opinion, I think has to go with the Ballon d'Or. Is the most prestigious individual football award there is to be won. And for majority of the last 10 to 15 years, we've seen the two GOATs of football, both Messi and Ronaldo, consistently winning the Ballon d'Or. But with them starting to get older in age, it opens up a huge door to many other footballers who are trying to prove their talent and who are trying to show the world that they are the best players in the world. And this season, we have seen two players in particular stand out over all the other players: Lamine Yamal and Ousmane Dembele. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys some early predictions on who I think is going to win the 2025 Ballon d'Or, looking at some top 10 lists, giving you guys a little bit of my own opinions, and finally giving you guys my prediction on who is going to win the 2025 Ballon d'Or between Lamine Yamal and Ousmane Dembele. This has been a huge talking point throughout the whole season, as they have been going back and forth, winning trophy after trophy, having incredible games to the both of them. But who is going to actually win? That's what I'm going to talk about in today's video. So without further ado, let's get right into this prediction. Before I get into this video, there are three different criteria that they use to rank the Ballon d'Or. The first criteria is individual performances, which is mainly through statistics, how many goals they've gotten, how many assists they've gotten, if you're a defender, how many clean sheets you've gotten. The second criteria that they use is team achievements, how many trophies your team has won in international competitions and club competitions. And the final criteria is their public image, how the player conducts themselves in the public eye. Do they have good sportsmanship? Are they a sore loser? And that kind of thing. But there is also one other criteria which isn't talked about as much, but is also very important to the Ballon d'Or ranking, and that is the player's consistency. Has the player been playing at this level throughout the whole season, or have they had an incredible last few months? That is a very, very important factor, and that could be the decider between both Lamine Yamal and Ousmane Dembele. Now, I am going to look at a few different lists online and give you guys a little bit of my own thoughts of these lists. The first list we got is from Give Me Sport, and it is a Ballon d'Or ranking list. And if you look at the top 10, in 10th place we got Nuno Mendes, in 9th place we got Pedri, in 8th place Kylian Mbappe, 7th Kvaratskhelia Kvaratskhelia, 6th place Desiree Doué, 5th Mohamed Salah, 4th Rafinha, 3rd place is Vitinha, 2nd place is Lamine Yamal, and 1st place is Ousmane Dembele. Now, this is a very different list to a lot of other lists, and the main reason for that is because they have put Vitinha of PSG in 3rd place. Now, obviously, PSG were absolutely incredible this season, and they won 4 different trophies. And obviously, with Vitinha being Portuguese, he also won the Nations League with Portugal. But in my opinion, I think this high ranking of Vitinha is a little bit of recency bias, because if you remember near the start of the season, back in September, October, November, he was still playing pretty good, but he wasn't playing at the same level that he has been for the last few months. I think in the last few months, he has really turned up. He's been getting a lot more goals in recent months. So I think that this is a little bit of recency bias. I still think that Vitinha should go in the top 10, but in my opinion, further down in around 7th or 8th. I also think having Desiree Doué at 6th place is also a little bit high. Now, obviously, I'm a big fan of Desiree Doué, and I've even made TikToks talking about him being the next Kylian Mbappe. But at the start of the season, he wasn't even getting regular game time. If anything, he was coming off the bench or maybe playing 30 to 40 minutes. So even though for the last few months, similar to Vitinha, he's been absolutely incredible, at the start of the season, he was not playing enough. And for that reason, I'm not sure if Desiree Doué should even be in the top 10. Looking at another list, this is a top 10 list done by Score90, who are pretty notorious for making top 10 lists. And in their ranking, they have Lewandowski in 10th place, Kvaratskhelia in 9th place, Nuno Mendes in 8th place, Vitinha in 7th place, Rafinha in 6th place, Kylian Mbappe in 5th, Salah in 4th, Pedri in 3rd, Dembele in 2nd, tied with Lamine Yamal. So they have both Dembele and Lamine Yamal tied in 1st place, and they have put Pedri in 3rd place, which is a big jump from the other list where they had Pedri in 9th place. Now, do I think Pedri deserves to be in 3rd place? I think that's a little bit high. I do think he has been the best midfielder in the world, but I think around 6th to maybe 7th place is the right place for Pedri. I just think that in the Ballon d'Or, they do prioritize attackers, and that's why third place for Pedri is a little bit high in my opinion. And finally, looking at one more top 10 list, this is done by Football Fancast. In 10th place, we have Harry Kane, 9th place Pedri, 8th place Vitinha, 7th place Kvaratskhelia, 6th place Desiree Doué, 5th place Mohamed Salah, 4th Donnarumma, 3rd place Lamine Yamal, 2nd place Rafinha, and 1st place Ousmane Dembele. Straight off the bat, I think Donnarumma should not be in this top 10. Obviously, he was incredible with PSG in their Champions League run, but in general, it is very hard for a goalkeeper to win the Ballon d'Or. And I would say the only way a goalkeeper could win the Ballon d'Or is if they've won as much stuff as PSG won in terms of their club, but also win something with the national team. And obviously, Italy at the moment are not looking so hot. So for that reason, I wouldn't put Donnarumma in this list. Obviously, Harry Kane has had an absolutely incredible season with Bayern Munich, but I don't think he's been good enough, and I don't think he's won enough to be in this top 10. I think Bayern Munich were pretty good this season, but definitely in previous seasons they have looked better. So for that reason, I wouldn't put Harry Kane on this list. And to have Rafinha above Lamine Yamal, in my opinion, is a little bit disrespectful. Obviously, Rafinha has been absolutely incredible this season. He was the top goal scorer in the Champions League, in the La Liga. He's been disgusting, scoring so many goals, getting so many assists, and he looks like probably one of the best wingers in the world. But I still think Lamine Yamal has had the better overall season than Rafinha has. Now, if I'm going to create my own list, I'd probably say in 10th place, I'll throw in Desiree Doué. In 9th place, I think I'll probably go with a player like Vitinha. In 8th place, I'll probably go with Pedri. In 7th place, I would go with Kvaratskhelia. 6th place, Kylian Mbappe. In 5th place, I think I'll go with Mohamed Salah. In 4th place, I'd put Nuno Mendes. 3rd place, Rafinha. 2nd place, Ousmane Dembele. And 1st place, in my opinion, I think has to go with Lamine Yamal. Now, why do I think Lamine Yamal deserves to go in 1st place? If we look at both Lamine Yamal and Ousmane Dembele's stats, Ousmane Dembele is the better player. Lamine Yamal in 55 games has gotten 18 goals and 21 assists, while Ousmane Dembele in 49 games has gotten 33 goals and another 13 assists as well, which is absolutely incredible. Now, obviously, stats do matter a lot in this Ballon d'Or race, but if we were counting it only based off stats, then Rafinha or Mohamed Salah should probably win the Ballon d'Or, because both of these players got 34 goals and Rafinha also got 22 assists, while Mohamed Salah got 23, which is far more than both Lamine Yamal and Ousmane Dembele. So if it was purely based off stats, then either Rafinha or Mohamed Salah should have won. But obviously, if we look at Ousmane Dembele, he did win 4 trophies with PSG. And if we look at Lamine Yamal, he won 3 trophies with Barcelona. Now, the reason why I would put Mohamed Salah down to 5th place is because obviously he was absolutely incredible. His stats were amazing. Liverpool were amazing, but they only won the Premier League. That is the only trophy they have to show for. They haven't won any other domestic trophies. And in the Champions League, they were knocked out fairly early. Now, obviously, they were knocked out by PSG, but in both of those legs against PSG, Mohamed Salah was nowhere to be found. He completely ghosted in those 2 games, and I think that does hurt his Ballon d'Or campaign compared to some of the other players. Now, for majority of the season, I was saying that Rafinha should win the Ballon d'Or. I thought he's been absolutely incredible, but I think that Lamine Yamal has been the most consistent player this season, as well as being the best player both to watch and even in terms of helping his team. He's also been the most consistent player from day 1 of this season with Barcelona. From the first match day all the way to the end, he was absolutely incredible. And some of the only matches that Barcelona lost in the La Liga were games that Lamine Yamal wasn't playing, and that shows you how big of an impact he has in this Barcelona side and the amount of consistency he's shown, whether it was in the Nations League, whether it was in the Champions League semifinals. For that level of consistency at such a young player, that is something that is very rare to find. Now, obviously, Ousmane Dembele was absolutely incredible this season. He's won more trophies than Lamine Yamal. He's gotten more stats, more goals than Lamine Yamal, but he hasn't had that same consistency that Lamine Yamal had, where if you look at the start of the season, for the first 3 or 4 months, Ousmane Dembele wasn't performing as good as he did in 2025 after January. Since January, he's definitely been the best player in the world. But before that time frame, I think that he didn't perform to the same level that he was after, and that hurts him a little bit, in my opinion, in this Ballon d'Or campaign. And another reason why I would still put Lamine Yamal over Ousmane Dembele is if you look at the biggest games this season, Ousmane Dembele didn't perform that well. If you look at them in the semifinals of the Nations League, Lamine Yamal was absolutely incredible, but Ousmane Dembele didn't play as good. And I think this does show a lot because Ousmane Dembele, he has more stats. He has more trophies won. But Lamine Yamal, in terms of watching him play, in terms of his consistency, he has been the best player in the world. And in terms of him with Barcelona compared to him not playing with Barcelona, Barcelona looked like a completely different team with him on that right side. I think he's the most influential player for his team compared to Ousmane Dembele. I think he's been the most consistent player this season, and I think he's been the best player to watch. And not only to watch, even in terms of his skill, in terms of his decision making, in terms of his playmaking, I think he's been the best player in the world. And for that reason, I think that Lamine Yamal deserves to win the 2025 Ballon d'Or. And that is the end of this video. Those were my 2025 Ballon d'Or predictions, where I do think Lamine Yamal just slightly edges it over Ousmane Dembele. If you guys agree with my predictions, remember to leave a comment down below. But if you disagree and you do think Ousmane Dembele deserves to win this Ballon d'Or, remember to leave your predictions down below, and I'll be sure to reply to every single comment. And obviously, if you did enjoy this video, remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and stay tuned for more videos.